YouTube! This is the other guitar that had one of those horrible Bendmaster bridges on it, so it's now got a Floyd Rose. I don't know very much about this guitar. Kinda don't even know how to look it up. It's an Encore, or an Encore, as someone told me once before. I'm going to take a guess that it's maybe Cort built. It's got the 3 adjustment screws on the pickups, and going for this sort of EMG looking, you know, the plain black covers. That kind of became a real big thing, 1984, 1985. So I'm kind of going to put this at somewhere a bit later than that, maybe sort of 86, 87, 88, something like that. I think it's going to be Korean. Not even really sure what shape you would call that either. You can see by my favourite thing here, it's a plywood, a tone. Someone actually put. I was looking up a thing the other night, and it was the guitar was described as the best Japanese tone plywood. It's like, yeah, tone plywood. It's like, but genuinely, that's the first time I've ever actually seen it written down. I don't think it was written as a sort of comedy thing. I mean, plywood's fine. I know it's plywood because I had to do quite a lot of routing to make the Floyd fit. A pure nightmare. Expected to take a long time if you're going to try and replace one of these stupid. Where's the bridge that came off? I didn't come off this one. This came off the Epiphone, but it was the same one that was in it. This one of these ones with the bridge. In fact, there's the one that's not yet broken. That I did a video about this last week or the other day. So you get this in Marlin. You get it in Marlin Sidewinders. You get it in lots of guitars from the late 80s and early 90s. BC Riches. It does look like what comes in a West tone. Apart from they've made it much cheaper. This block here is there's an awful lot of holes and stuff in it, and it basically this one this one hasn't yet crumbled into Weetabix, but it has cracked all over the place. And I filled it with super glue, and then I was going to try and put it back onto whatever guitar I got it on, and it was just like, for all the effort of putting strings on it and stuff like that, I just know as soon as you bend it, this thing's just going to crumble. So basically just ditch. If you've got one of these bridges, ditch it. You can make a Floyd fit, but you need to put in new bridge posts at a different spacing because they're much closer together and that. So actually, within the size of the hole for these bridge posts, because they're really much thinner, there's actually enough room to just actually enlarge the hole with a Dremel to take proper bridge posts in the right place. You know, you can kind of use the inner edge, keep the inner edge of the hole the same, and then widen them going out the way from the centre. You can make it fit. It's holding pretty well. As good as a GP Floyd can, really. Headstock's kind of, I don't know, you kind of want to put it on a Flying V, I would have said, maybe. Get the shark fin inlays. So maybe that makes it a bit later. When was Jackson doing the shark fin inlays? 88, 89, something like that. No sign of a serial number. Yeah, it's got a push-pull pot, which I'm not 100% sure what it does, but it's original, but it seems to be adding in some sort of tone cap. You would normally just assume it was going to be a coil split. The pickups are splittable, but it doesn't seem, it's not, looking at the wiring, it's just like, I don't know, but it's working, so I'm not going to touch it. If the guy was giving me money, I'll wire it up the way I would wire it, but it was working, so I'm not really sure exactly what the push-pull pot's doing. It seems to sort of be doing some sort of coil split, but also adding in a tone cap of some description. A bit weird. Don't know. And I don't know. Must be a replacement clamp. I didn't put it on. It was already there. So this might not necessarily have had a locking one of these. There's different versions. You get one like this that's actually, you know, you've got your fine tuners on it, so it would have had some sort of clamp up here somewhere. I don't actually see any space for a clamp, so kind of maybe thinking that that's, you know, it's not. This was maybe just like a normal one. My if there's nothing on top of this, I'll pick it up. I picked it up the other day. Knocking down. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So if you look at there's the West Tone one they copied. So as you can see, it's the same sort of base plate, but it doesn't have fine tuners on it. So this is like just. I think they were maybe called Bend Masters or something like that. Not exactly sure. yeah, so basically it's actually a pretty good guitar. The neck on it's lovely, which is the thing you get a lot of guitars from this era had, they kind of all seem to have good necks. So this is kind of like, I would put it basically like your Squire Classic Vibe neck, but a wee bit better. You know, it's kind of decent wood, and it's got the nice glossiness on it. I just saw a sticker there. It's a JHS-A7-2T RFL. Yeah, so maybe I'll put that in the title, then maybe other people will have it. The sticker's kind of a wee bit bashed, and quite often these stickers, because of where it is, it's like when people are shredding up here, it gets a bit sweaty and falls off, basically. So I think Korean, as I was saying there, it's like a lot of guitars from this era have got really good necks, but sometimes they're let down with a plywood body and really rubbish hardware. This has got decent tuners on it. It's got the tuners, you know, sealed tuners that seem to be alright. Just like your Gotalk copies or something like that. Yeah, so have a wee jam with it. So that's the neck pickup. Bridge pickup. And then both pickups. I'm just playing through my wee Laney VC15 there. It's coming through that cabinet because these 312-inch speakers is better than the 110 that's in it. No pedals on. And then if you pull this out, see, it's kind of doing some sort of tony thing, but not so much when you're in. So there's the bridge pickup. Kind of hard to tell whether that's doing something or not. I think it might be a coil split. The neck pickup. It's doing something. I think it's doing what it's meant to do. It's just I was kind of looking at it, and it's like, rather than actually spending, you know, half an hour sitting there trying to work out what it is it's wired to do, I think it's whatever it is it's originally designed. I wonder if it's maybe, no, see, it can't be. I was going to say, wonder if maybe the in thing to have around about that time was to have a coil split, a push-pull pot, and these pickups aren't coil splittable, but they are, because I looked inside, they've got, the wires are there, so I really don't know what it's doing. Basically just run it as humbuckers, you'll be fine. Pick a wee bit of a jam in then. Bridge. Bit of tone off. Enough clean. US Dream pedal, copy of a Sir Riot. More distortion. Twin note buzz pedal. Yes, it's holding actually pretty well. That's been using quite excessive Floyd Rosary on it there. But I mean, I have to say, for being the cheap, I think it was the cheapest Floyd Rose I could find on Amazon. It was like 20 quid, something like that. It seems to be all right. It seems to be pretty good. Maybe it's not going to last particularly. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that I think it just takes one idiot to own one of these things, especially with a sort of cheaper Floyd Rose, that someone just goes, "Oh, I'll just tighten up everything until it snaps." I think that's kind of possible, you know, if when you're tightening up. I've seen it before with the clamps on the headstock. You know, if you're going to absolutely tighten that up, and you know, like when you're physically try to tighten as tight as you can get, you will strip it, because it's just made of lower quality metal. But it seems to be working pretty good. I'm not really sure what you would class this guitar as. I mean, it's not. I don't even know how do you describe it? Kind of something in the middle. This is the sort of guitar, because these bridges have invariably turned to mush at some point. This is the sort of guitar I think you can find in a charity shop or at the dump, because somebody's done, "Oh, you're into fixing guitars, aren't you, Dave?" And I go, "Up here, yeah, give us a shot of that." And then they look at it and they go, "Oh, the bridge." And there's not really an easy way to get round it. The Epiphone I had before of the same guy who had this had a go at kind of, you know, you can maybe block it or remove bits and stuff, and it really, there isn't a way of doing that easily without going for the whole, you know, taking it off and physically gluing a big block of wood in and then hardtailing it. It's not really, you know, sometimes a kind of Strat one, if it's broken, you can just tighten up the springs in the back and it just works as a hardtail. It's not really the option with these, I'm just going to say crappy bridges, these things. So you'll have seen Marlin Sidewinders. They look quite good, sort of HSS Strats, and they're basically kind of this sort of guitar, really, apart from not this shape. They're more Strat shaped, but it's just like so yes, you can do it. To fit it, as I said, you need to move the bridge posts out the way and use a new bridge post, and you also need to route out where the tremolo arm goes on. Behind the tremolo arm, there's like the cylindrical bit that sticks, that this is screwed into, hangs down, and it was making the most horrendous noises until I sorted that. And to be honest, actually, it was making the most horrendous noises after that, and it was like, now it's fine, but it was going and I was like, everyone was fine, it wasn't touching, it's like that. And it turned out it was like, well, if I put the back on this, but the earth wire, because it's the springs are really quite close to the body of the guitar, inside where the claw is, and the earth wire was stuck in below it. So basically, the noise was the earth wire getting squished by the spring. So I just kind of pulled the earth wire out from in below the spring, still connected and stuff, just so it wasn't wedged between the spring and the thing, and it just suddenly went pating and worked fine. So yes, interesting guitar. I honestly would only suggest buying it if somebody has already put some sort of bridge on it, or you fancy trying to fit a Floyd Rose to it. I wouldn't bother buying one if it's got this on it, because you're in for a world of hurt. But it's good to see these things actually living again. I mean, there must be thousands of guitars like this with this sort of bridge that have just been binned. If you don't want to do that, the neck is really good. I mean, maybe not the most lovely headstock for this shape of guitar, but if you stick that on a Flying V, I think that'll look pretty good. So, and you know, it's pretty good. The pickups seem to be alright as well. Quite high output, sort of. By this point, Van Halen was about, so people wanted high output pickups. And the profile on it's very shreddy. It's quite thin and quite wide. Kind of like a Jackson neck, actually, I would have said, which is kind of like, obviously, it's just a copy of a Jackson neck, you know, like, especially with the shark tooth inlays. Very cool. 20, is that 24 frets? No, 21 frets. 15, 17, 19, 21 frets. You'd expect this guitar to have 24. It's also got a very square heel, so that's not really going to fit a Strat. So you'd really have to maybe do a little bit of bodgering if you found this guitar at the dump, bought in a charity shop, you know, picked up in Gumtree for 40 quid or whatever. The neck, you might have to do a little bit of work to make it fit into a normal guitar, or build the body for it. It does the trill thing. But what you have to do, again, just talking Floyd Roses, you need to put something on the end of this, whether it's PTFTE tape or whatever it's called, or my pal Scott suggested you put a bit of a plastic straw on it, round it before you screw it on, so that you can get it so that it doesn't wibble on its own. You know, that's pretty. Immediate. It's really annoying when you get a Floyd Rose or any sort of trem where you have to move it like a couple of mil before it actually engages. You know, it kind of wobbles inside the hole, whereas you need to put something in there and then you need to tighten up with pliers to make it sit like this. But I mean, it's a fine guitar. I can see how it's totally fine. Now, and it's like one of those ones. It's like, you know, if you were going to try and learn to play the guitar, yes, be fine. If it's this one, it's got a decent bridge now fitted to it, it's totally fine. It seems to be holding tune remarkably well, seeing as I've not really done very much stretching of these strings or anything. Everything will settle down, but it's kind of, it's still in tune, and I was, you know. And I don't really think you're going to get a Floyd really that works any better than that anywhere, really. I mean, it's like, yeah, fun. Yeah, so an Encore JHS, that'll be John Hornby Skews, that'll be the importer, and it's an A7-2T RFL/RFL, I'd think. RFL normally would mean the letters after the model number, not the serial number. There is no serial number. Normally tell you what colour it is. So FL, I don't know. Sometimes, you know, when it says /B and it's a black guitar, that's why it says /B, or CB for cherry burst, or CS actually for cherry sunburst. You get quite a lot. So this is they've obviously made it up. It's got a sort of veneer on the front. Actually, quite a pretty veneer. Kind of they're kind of going for the Aria Urchin look. The Aria Urchin's got a cap, not a veneer, but yeah. So interesting guitar. What tonight? Thursday. I wasn't going to do videos on Thursday. Maybe I'll put this out tomorrow night, and I'll see you on Sunday for the live stream. Rock on. Catch you later.